Hello, this is Ron Nutter with another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nutter. Still getting through all the videos that I shot while at Cisco Live this past week. This time we're going to have a conversation with Steve Jordan, one of the co-authors of the new CCDA book for the 200-301 exam. Just like the underlying CCNA exam, the CCDA is also going a significant upgrade. Now we're going to be talking about things such as data center applications. In the even IPv6 is undergoing a significant change. Instead of just being, a little bit aware of what it is and how to recognize it, you're going to have to do a little bit more. So this is going back to the CCNA exam types of several years ago, and it's just as important for the CCDA to keep up with this as well. Without delaying any further, let's listen to the interview I had with Steve.
Okay, and this is Ron Nutter with another edition of Tech Bites with Ron Nutter, and joining me now is Steve Jordan, the co-author of the new CCDA book. Now, those that have maybe looked at the exam before, Steve and I were talking before we turned the camera on, and there are some significant changes in this particular version of the book. What kind of things should they be expecting to find once they get the book?
Well, thanks, Ron, for having me on today. I appreciate it. So I focused mainly on the data center security and WAN technologies and WAN design chapters in the book. The other co-author, Anthony Bruno, he wrote the rest of it, so I can talk about at least the chapters I was involved with, because that was kind of my baby. So we'll talk about data center first. So with data center, there's a lot of more focus on network programmability, SDN. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk about ACI in there. What are APIs? We touch on controllers. So there's a lot of new topics that weren't in there before. We had a lot of virtualization content in there, so we've expanded that some as well, just to kind of fill in gaps where, talking more about VPC, VSS. We added fabric extenders to this one. So there's a lot of data center content that's been added, probably 60-70% updates for that chapter alone. The other one, security, same thing. There was lots of changes there. We got rid of a lot of the Cat 6K kind of modules that we had, those service modules. Most of that stuff is end of life, and so we had to pull all that stuff out. So there's a lot more focus on things like ASA with the next gen firewall and the IPS from the firepower module in the ASA, the firepower kind of the management console, or the FMC Firesite rather. So there's new network management platforms for firewalls. We talk more about the IPS, also where to place IPS and next-gen firewalls inside of a network architecture. So there's more diagrams around that in terms of placement. Where do we put the devices? So that was kind of security. And then WAN, same kind of thing. We had a lot of changes there. More technologies in there. So we cover a lot of MPLS layer 3 VPNs. More about that, right? There's DMVPN, more coverage there. So we cover kind of a lot of the VPN kind of technologies that a lot of the enterprises are using to connect all their sites together.
Well, and with the focus here at the conference, there's being more and more talk about IPv6 and not just recognition, which is kind of what the early exams were doing. They were just making sure you had some exposure to it and kind of knew the basics. Now we're starting to get more into the meat of things where you've really got to have a decent handle on it.
Yeah, this is the most comprehensive CCDA that I've seen. This is the third time I've been part of this project. So I wrote the third edition, fourth edition, and now the fifth one. And there's a lot of content in here now. Even if you use this it'd be a good reference book too. Even if you're not going for the exam, there's just a lot of good content, and we've heard that. We've gotten that feedback from others and stuff. So I think so. I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys can take advantage of this, help you get past this new exam. The exam number changed to 200-310 is the new exam number for it. But I hope you enjoy it.
Now, with more of the exams getting more comprehensive, some exams in the past, and I'm not going to say that Cisco was any of those, had a reputation of being you go read the book, you take the test, and you're done. What is the level of expectation that the reader should have to be able to pass that test after going through the book? What kind of things should they expect to be able to do fluently after going through the book?
There's a lot in here. So I think, there's practice questions that come with the book. So I definitely, recommend, after you kind of read through the book, you may want to read certain sections. Again, there's also key topic areas that we highlight that you really want to know these areas. We highlight a lot of the tables of information, and we call them kind of memory tables in there. So that's important content that's likely to show up on the exam. And then, going through the exam questions after you're done and making sure that you're really good about answering those questions and feeling very confident about going through those exam simulations, then I'd say go book it and take the test.
And with anything, the technology is constantly changing. So even like me, who I've already got my CCDA, this is something that having the reference material, because even those little minor things maybe what will trip you up somewhere, and at least you're better exposed to the content and keep your skills as close to market conditions as possible.
Absolutely.
Well, Steve, thank you very much for your time. I know you've got to go to another session, and as do I. So thank everybody for joining us.
Well, that was a good interview with Steve, because that's something that, as you get more and more certifications, staying current on it becomes even more important. And even if you don't progress past the point of CCDA, being familiar with the current content is always going to be a good thing, because you never know when it may help out in a project with a client or possibly in that next position. If you weren't able to get a copy of the book at the show, I've got a link on the bottom of this screen, www.ronnutter.com/CCDA 2016. This will give you a link to the latest book that is out. This came out just prior to the conference and will help you a little bit with the cost. I am required to tell you that it is an affiliate link. It will not change the cost of the book. It just helps with my cost of the equipment I get to produce this and some of the other shows I do. Hopefully this will be of help to you, and thank you very much for your time in watching this.